The galactic conclave had laughed when Earth's lone ship, the Reckoning Dawn, appeared at the edge of the Arcturus system. Admiral Kira Voss stood on the bridge, her weathered face illuminated by the glow of tactical displays as the massive alien fleet arrayed before them, 57 warships against one. The comms crackled to life, and a sneering, multi-toned voice filled the command deck. Primitive vessel, you have entered Nexari space. Your pitiful craft represents an insignificant species that refuses to acknowledge superior authority. Withdraw immediately, or be obliterated. Fleet Commander Ozreth of the Nexari hegemony didn't bother hiding his disdain. The humans had refused integration into the hegemony for decades, clinging to their independence despite controlling only a single habitable world and a handful of mining outposts. Their stubbornness was legendary, their technology primitive, and their military might laughable. This single vessel was barely worth the energy expenditure to destroy it. Lieutenant Evren Aiden, tactical officer of the Reckoning Dawn, glanced nervously at Admiral Voss. "They're powering weapons across their fleet, Admiral." Voss simply nodded, icy calm in her stance. "Exactly as expected. Commence Operation Revelation." The officers around her exchanged knowing glances. For 20 years, humanity had put everything into this single vessel. While appearing to be nothing more than a heavy cruiser by galactic standards, the Reckoning Dawn represented Earth's greatest gamble. As the Nexari fleet moved to surround them, the ship's quantum engines hummed with unprecedented power. "Admiral," the ship's AI, designated Nara, announced, "Dimensional fold capacitors at 98%. Ready to execute on your command." The Nexari weapons charged, energy readings escalating across their sensor screens. Their flagship, the Eternal Dominion, positioned itself directly ahead, its massive disruptor cannons glowing with violet energy. "Primitive. Humans," Fleet Commander Ozreth transmitted again. "Your defiance amuses us. One last chance to surrender and accept assimilation." Admiral Voss straightened her uniform and leaned forward. "Nara, open a channel." "Channel open, Admiral. This is Admiral Kira Voss of Earth Vessel Reckoning Dawn. We will not surrender, not today, not ever. For too long, the hegemony has bullied smaller worlds, stripped their resources, and enslaved their populations. Earth stands as the line you will not cross." Ozreth's laughter echoed through the bridge. "One ship? Your arrogance exceeds even your reputation. Goodbye, Admiral." The first salvo from the Nexari fleet launched, dazzling streaks of destructive energy converging on the lone Earth vessel. "Dimensional fold." "Now," Voss commanded. What happened next would forever change galactic warfare. The Reckoning Dawn seemed to ripple, then vanish, not through conventional FTL, but by folding space itself around it. The Nexari weapons passed through empty space where the ship had been, and then, impossibly, the Reckoning Dawn reappeared, between two Nexari destroyers. The ship's hull glowed with strange, pulsing blue energy as its main cannon fired. The beam didn't just strike the nearest destroyer, it passed through it entirely, continuing onward to slice through 3 more vessels behind it. The Nexari fleet erupted in panic. Nothing in their tactical database suggested humans possessed technology capable of dimensional manipulation or weapons that could bypass advanced shields. As 4 warships simultaneously erupted into spectacular explosions, Ozreth's voice lost its smugness. "What? What is this? All vessels, concentrate fire!" But the Reckoning Dawn vanished again, reappearing elsewhere within their formation. The humans had been planning this moment for decades, the moment when humanity would reveal that its apparent technological inferiority was the greatest deception in galactic history. "Nara," Admiral Voss said calmly as chaos engulfed the enemy fleet, "execute attack pattern Prometheus." The battle had only just begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Reckoning Dawn materialized behind the Nexari command ship, its hull pulsing with otherworldly energy. The massive alien vessel pivoted desperately, its weapons arrays struggling to track the faster, dimension-hopping Earthship. Dimensional fold cooldown, 17 seconds, reported Nara, the ship's AI. Warning, quantum field instability at 14% and rising. Admiral Voss nodded grimly. The ship's revolutionary technology wasn't without limitations. Each dimensional fold taxed the experimental drives and created escalating instabilities in the quantum field. They couldn't keep jumping forever. Fire penetrator arrays, full spread, she ordered. Lieutenant Aiden's fingers danced across his console, targeting their propulsion systems and weapons nodes, firing now. The Reckoning Dawn's secondary weapons unleashed streams of brilliant white projectiles, not conventional munitions, but microscopic wormhole generators. On impact, they created localized space-time disruptions that bypassed shields and armor, appearing directly inside critical systems. 3 Nexari cruisers suddenly lost power as their cores destabilized. Another spun wildly, its navigation systems compromised. On the Nexari flagship, Fleet Commander Ozreth slammed his 4-fingered hand against his command console. Impossible! Deploy the phase hunters! All vessels, execute dispersal pattern Omega! Shukch. Remaining Nexari ships scattered in a practiced formation designed to trap and eliminate a single adversary. From the belly of the flagship emerged a squadron of smaller craft, sleek, predatory vessels designed specifically for hunting elusive targets. Admiral Voss watched the tactical display with narrowed eyes. They're adapting faster than expected. Commander, Ilara Dex, Voss's second-in-command, leaned forward. We anticipated this. Phase hunters can track quantum signatures. They'll follow us through our folds. Then we change tactics, Voss decided. Nara, activate the Chimera protocol. Chimera protocol activated. The AI responded. Warning. This will accelerate quantum field instability. The Reckoning Dawn suddenly split its quantum signature into 5 distinct patterns, creating perfect holographic duplicates of itself, each seemingly solid and emitting identical energy readings. The duplicates moved in different directions, confusing the Nexari targeting systems. On the Nexari command ship, alarms blared. Sir! An officer called out to Ozreth. 5 identical human vessels detected. Our sensors cannot determine which is real. Ozreth's eyes widened in disbelief. Impossible. No known species has mastered quantum duplication at this scale. The phase hunters divided, each pursuing a different copy of the Reckoning Dawn. The first hunter to reach its target fired, only for its plasma torpedoes to pass through the holographic duplicate and strike a Nexari support vessel instead. 2 Nexari ships collided as they maneuvered to avoid another duplicate, causing catastrophic damage to both. The real Reckoning Dawn has reached optimal firing position, Nara announced. Main cannon charged to 87%. Target. Their flagship's bridge, Voss commanded. Let's decapitate this beast. The real Earth vessel, momentarily dropping its duplicate field, fired its main cannon directly at the Nexari flagship. The beam of concentrated exotic particles harvested from the boundary between dimensions struck with devastating precision. The Eternal Dominion's forward shields collapsed instantly, and the beam penetrated through multiple decks. But Ozreth wasn't finished. As systems failed around him and his bridge crew perished, he activated his final contingency. Release the Harbinger. All remaining vessels converge and protect it at all costs. From the dying flagship emerged a massive spherical device, the Harbinger, a weapon of last resort that the Nexari had never before needed to deploy against any enemy. Admiral, Commander Dex said, her voice tense. Long-range scanners detecting unprecedented energy buildup in that device. It's tearing at the fabric of space itself. Voss's expression hardened. So they'd rather destroy this entire system than admit defeat. Nara, how long until we can fold again? Dimensional fold capabilities at 31%. Estimate 47 seconds until next fold possible. The Admiral stared at the tactical display, watching as the remaining Nexari vessels formed a protective ring around the Harbinger. The device pulsed with increasing intensity, distorting space visibly around it. "We don't have 47 seconds," Voss said quietly. "Divert all non-essential power to forward shields and prepare to execute Protocol Omega Black." Commander Dex's face paled. "Admiral, Omega Black is untested. The simulations showed a 93% chance of—" "I know the risks, Commander," Voss interrupted. "But we're out of options. Earth sent us to make a statement, and we will not fail now." As the Harbinger reached critical energy levels, the Reckoning Dawn charged directly toward it, its experimental shields glowing against the strain. The true test of humanity's secret technology was about to begin. The space between the Reckoning Dawn and the Nexari Harbinger device distorted visibly, reality itself groaning under the stress of the weapon's power. Admiral Voss gripped her command chair as the ship accelerated toward what appeared to be certain doom. "All hands, brace for Omega Black execution." Her voice rang clear throughout the ship. "Nara, initiate the protocol on my mark." Lieutenant Aiden worked frantically at his console. "Admiral, the Harbinger's output is exceeding our theoretical models. Its gravitational distortion field will tear us apart before we can execute Omega Black." "Adjust approach vector. Maximum evasive patterns," Voss ordered. "Commander Dex, divert auxiliary power to the dimensional stabilizers." As the Reckoning Dawn dove and wove through the intensifying gravitational eddies, the ship's hull creaked ominously. 3 remaining Nexari cruisers moved to intercept, firing continuous salvos at the Earth vessel. On what remained of the Nexari flagship, Fleet Commander Ozreth watched from an escape pod, his facial membranes pulsing with both fury and fascination. "The humans are insane," he muttered to his surviving officers. "They're charging directly at a space-time annihilation device." The Harbinger's energy sphere expanded, now nearly a kilometer in diameter. Inside the phenomenon, subatomic particles appeared and annihilated randomly, creating cascading flashes of intense light and radiation. "Admiral," Nara's calm voice cut through the chaos on the bridge. "I've analyzed the Harbinger's emission pattern. It's designed to create a cascading dimensional collapse that will expand to consume the entire system." Voss nodded grimly. "Just as we suspected. They'd rather destroy everything than lose their dominance." She opened a ship-wide channel. "This is why we're here, people. This is what Earth has prepared for. Execute Omega Black, now." The Reckoning Dawn's conventional engines shut down completely. For a brief, terrifying moment, the ship drifted powerless toward the expanding Harbinger field. Then, from recessed ports along the hull, dozens of specialized emitters activated simultaneously. Rather than attempting to flee or fight the gravitational distortion, the Reckoning Dawn began generating its own competing field, not to counter the Harbinger's effect, but to harmonize with it in precise, calculated ways. "Dimensional resonance established," Nara reported. "Syncopation at 63% and climbing." The theory behind Omega Black was revolutionary, the product of Earth's most brilliant physicists working in secret for decades. Instead of resisting a space-time distortion, the protocol used precisely calibrated quantum fields to guide and reshape it. The Reckoning Dawn began to glow with the same eerie light as the Harbinger, becoming a conductor for its immense energies rather than a victim of them. The ship itself appeared to dissolve partially into higher dimensions, existing in multiple states simultaneously. They're absorbing the Harbinger's output," Ozreth whispered in disbelief as he watched from his escape vessel. "Impossible, Commander." Dex monitored the readings with growing excitement. "It's working, Admiral. The resonance is stabilizing at 87%. We're redirecting the Harbinger's energy through our dimensional matrix." The Reckoning Dawn had effectively become a lens, focusing the weapon's destructive power and channeling it along paths of the ship's choosing. The remaining Nexari vessels, still clustered near the Harbinger, suddenly found themselves caught in precisely directed gravitational shears that tore their hulls apart. Full-dimensional reversion in 30 seconds, Nara announced. Recommend immediate withdrawal once the Harbinger is neutralized, but Admiral Voss shook her head. Negative, adjust the matrix. Target the resonance directly at the Nexari fleet. Command relays. Admiral? Aiden questioned, shocked by the order. The Nexari must receive our message in full, Voss explained, her voice hard with determination. Humanity will no longer be threatened or dismissed. The Reckoning Dawn, still partially phased between dimensions, redirected the Harbinger's energy into a focused beam that lanced out toward a distant point in space, the location of the Nexari fleet's quantum communication hub. When the beam struck, it didn't destroy the hub physically, but instead overloaded it with data, a message encoded directly into subspace itself. As the Harbinger's energy finally dissipated, the Reckoning Dawn fully rematerialized, its hull scorched and damaged, but intact. The few surviving Nexari vessels drifted powerless, their systems overwhelmed by proximity to the space-time event. Ozreth's escape pod received an incoming transmission, not over conventional channels, but somehow resonating directly from subspace into every Nexari communication device simultaneously. Admiral Voss's face appeared before him. This was merely a demonstration, her voice rang with quiet authority. Earth stands free. Spread the word to your hegemony and all who would threaten us. The age of humanity has begun. As the Reckoning Dawn prepared to depart the devastated battlefield, the message continued to propagate throughout Nexari space, indelibly marking the moment when everything changed. 2 weeks after the Battle of Arcturus, the news had spread throughout the galaxy like wildfire. In the Grand Hall of the Galactic Conclave on Century Prime, representatives from 18 major powers and dozens of independent worlds gathered. In emergency session, High Counselor Meritrix of the Joltarian Republic pounded his crystalline gavel against the podium. Order! We will have order in this assembly! The cacophony of voices, some speaking through translators, others communicating via psionic projections or light pattern displays, gradually dimmed. The central holographic display showed footage of the battle, captured by automated Nexari combat recorders before their destruction. The evidence before us is clear, Meritrix continued. A single Earth vessel defeated 57 Nexari warships and neutralized a Class X prohibited weapon. The balance of power has fundamentally shifted. Admiral Voss stood alone in the center of the hall, her uniform pristine despite the hostile. Stares directed at her from all sides. The Reckoning Dawn orbited Century Prime above them, a visible reminder of Earth's newfound power. The hegemony demands sanctions against Earth for unprovoked aggression. The Nexari representative, under command, Rizikar shouted. His normally iridescent scales had dulled with stress and humiliation. They deployed banned dimensional technology and violated the Accords of Ptolemy? Interesting perspective, Voss replied coolly, especially coming from the civilization that attempted to deploy a space-time annihilation device against a single vessel. The representatives from the Elrin Collective, floating clouds of bioluminescent particles contained in transparent spheres, pulsed with agitation. What concerns this assembly is not the battle itself, but what it represents, their synchronized voice echoed. Humanity concealed technological advancements of staggering magnitude. How can any species be trusted if such deception is possible? Voss smiled thinly. Trust? Was it trust when the Conclave denied Earth's petitions for protection against Nexari? Aggression 7 times over the past decade? Was it trust when you all dismissed our reports of hegemony atrocities on the border worlds? She walked to the center of the chamber, activating her own holographic display. Images appeared. Frontier colonies reduced to ash, Civilian ships destroyed, entire ecosystems collapsed through Nexari strip mining operations. For generations, Earth has been deemed too primitive, too insignificant to have a voice here. We were left with a choice: reveal our advancements and become targets for those who would steal our technology, or maintain the illusion of backwardness while we prepared. The Mirran delegate, an ancient race of avian philosophers, spread his iridescent wings in a gesture of acknowledgement. The deception was masterfully executed. But what now, Admiral? Earth stands revealed as a technological powerhouse. What are your intentions? Before Voss could answer, the doors to the chamber burst open. A disheveled Nexari courier rushed in, bypassing security to deliver a data crystal to Under Command Rizikar. The Nexari representative's scales shifted to ash gray as he viewed its contents. "The hegemon is dead," he announced, his voice hollow. "Our homeworld's defensive grid has been compromised. Somehow, the humans have inserted their technology into our central systems." All eyes turned to Voss, who remained impassive. "We sent only one ship to Arcturus, but that doesn't mean it was our only operation. For years, we've had agents throughout Nexari space, gathering intelligence and placing dormant quantum entanglement nodes in key locations." A wave of shocked murmurs swept through the assembly. "The Nexari hegemony has enslaved 17 species and destroyed countless civilizations," Voss continued. "Their leadership has been neutralized, and we've transmitted the access codes to their defense systems to all subjugated worlds. The age of Nexari tyranny is over." High Counselor Meritrix slammed his gavel repeatedly. "This is unprecedented. One species cannot unilaterally reshape galactic politics." "We didn't start this," Voss replied firmly. "But we are finishing it. Earth does not seek dominion or conquest. We seek a balanced galaxy where technological advantage doesn't grant the right to oppress." She turned slowly, making eye contact with representatives from across the chamber. "The Reckoning Dawn is not unique. Earth has a fleet now emerging from hiding throughout the galaxy. We've maintained outposts disguised as primitive research, stations that are, in fact, advanced military installations." The holographic display shifted again, showing dozens of locations where Earth vessels were suddenly appearing, rising from gas giant atmospheres where they'd been concealed, emerging from asteroid fields and decloaking near strategic points. "We offer a choice," Voss declared. "A new conclave, with equal representation for all spacefaring species, or a continuation of the old power structures, which we will no longer tolerate." As the chamber erupted into chaos once more, Admiral Voss quietly activated her communicator. "Phase 4 is complete," she reported. "Preparing for final negotiations." The galaxy's power brokers had never faced such a dramatic reversal. Earth, long dismissed as an inconsequential backwater, had executed perhaps the most audacious gambit in galactic history. In a secluded chamber deep within the conclave station, Admiral Voss sat across from 7 of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. The unofficial council, known as the Septarchy, had secretly guided galactic policy for millennia. Their existence was known to few, their identities to even fewer. "You've upset the equilibrium, Admiral," said Larathi, the eldest. Of the Septarchy, her ancient reptilian features barely visible beneath her hood. Thousands of years of careful balance undone in a matter of weeks. Voss remained composed. A balance that benefited the established powers while countless worlds suffered. "Let's dispense with pretense. You summoned me because you finally recognize Earth as a threat." The hooded figure representing the enigmatic Void Collective leaned forward, its features obscured by swirling darkness. "Not a threat, Admiral. A puzzle. Our most sophisticated predictive models never foresaw humanity's leap. Explain how you accomplished this technological revolution in secret." A thin smile crossed Voss's face. "Perhaps your models underestimated human determination, or perhaps there's more to the story." She placed a small device on the table which projected a hologram of Earth, but not as it appeared in modern star charts. This Earth was surrounded by massive orbital structures and fleets of vessels unlike the Reckoning Dawn. 200 years ago, humanity was on the verge of becoming a true galactic power, Voss explained. Then came the Severance, a coordinated attack that decimated our infrastructure and set us back generations. Most humans don't even remember our true history. The knowledge was systematically erased. The Septarchy members exchanged glances, their discomfort evident even across species barriers. We found records, fragments hidden in deep vaults beneath our oceans and in data caches on distant moons, Voss continued. Enough to piece together the truth. Earth was deliberately crippled because someone foresaw our potential and feared it. Lirathi's scaled hand trembled slightly. You cannot prove these historical theories, can't I? Voss activated another holographic image, ancient footage showing ships with markings matching those of early Nexari, Joltarian, and other conclave powers bombarding Earth's orbital defenses. Our primitive appearance was not natural development, but the result of a coordinated attempt to eliminate humanity as a galactic contender. The representative of the Quorum of 11, a cybernetically enhanced humanoid named Magistrate Vex, spoke for the first time. Even if what you claim is true, it was before any of our lifetimes. Ancient history. 2 centuries is hardly ancient. For most of your species, Voss countered. Regardless, we're not seeking vengeance for past wrongs. We're preventing history from repeating. She stood and walked around the table slowly. The scientists who designed the Reckoning Dawn didn't create new technology. They rediscovered our lost heritage. For decades, we maintained the facade of a backward species while secretly rebuilding our capabilities. The Arish delegate, composed of pure energy contained within an ornate vessel, pulsed brightly. You speak of balance and equality, yet you've deployed weapons and technology that could destabilize entire sectors. The dimensional manipulation your vessel demonstrated violates natural laws. Does it? Voss asked. Or does it simply violate your understanding of those laws? The universe is far stranger than the Conclave has permitted most species to discover. She activated one final hologram, a star map showing mysterious regions of space labeled dimensional anomaly zones that precisely matched the locations where Earth's hidden fleet had recently emerged. These anomalies have existed for millennia, yet the Conclave declared them off-limits, too dangerous for exploration. In reality, they're natural phenomena that enable the very technologies we've harnessed. Technologies that were systematically suppressed to maintain certain powers' advantages. The members of the Septarchy fell silent, the weight of revelations hanging heavily in the chamber. So, Voss concluded, we stand at a crossroads. Earth doesn't want war. We've had enough destruction. What we want is acknowledgement, restitution, and reform. Lirathi's ancient eyes narrowed. And if we refuse? Voss's expression hardened. The Reckoning Dawn demonstrated only a fraction of our capabilities. We've placed quantum entanglement nodes throughout conclave space, not as weapons but as insurance. You're blackmailing the most powerful coalition in the galaxy, Magistrate Vex said incredulously. I prefer to call it negotiating from a position of strength, Voss replied evenly. For too long, humanity and countless other species have been denied a voice. That ends today. She placed a data crystal on the table. These are our terms: full membership for Earth in the Conclave, reparations for the severance, release of all suppressed technologies to all member species, and an end to the caste system that has kept lesser worlds in perpetual subjugation. As the Septarchy members examined the crystal's contents, their reactions ranged from outrage to resignation. Humanity had not only survived their ancient attempt to eliminate it as a rival, it had returned with the power to fundamentally reshape galactic civilization. You have one standard cycle to present our terms to the full conclave, Voss said, turning to leave. We prefer peace, but we've prepared for all contingencies. As the door sealed behind her, Admiral Voss allowed herself a moment of vulnerability, touching the locket at her throat containing an image of old Earth before the severance, when humanity's future among the stars had seemed limitless. Soon that future would be reclaimed. The great conclave hall fell silent as the vote concluded. Representatives from 307 worlds had cast their decisions regarding Earth's ultimatum. Admiral Voss stood stoically at the center of the chamber, her expression revealing nothing as High Counselor Meritrix examined the final tally. "By a majority of 63%, Meritrix announced, his crystalline features catching the light. "The Galactic Conclave accepts the terms presented by Earth." A mixture of reactions rippled through the chamber: relief from the smaller powers, resignation from the traditionally dominant species, and calculated neutrality from those still assessing this dramatic shift in the cosmic order. Voss nodded once, her composure unwavering. "The people of Earth accept your decision. The transitional protocols will begin immediately." As she turned to leave the podium, a commotion erupted near the chamber's entrance. A contingent of Nexari military officers, led by Supreme Strategist Kryvax, forced their way past security. "This is treachery!" Kryvax bellowed, his scales flaring crimson with rage. "The hegemony rejects this capitulation to human demands." From concealed weapons, the Nexari officers opened fire, not at Voss, but at the central communication hub that broadcast proceedings throughout the galaxy. The chamber erupted into chaos as delegates scrambled for cover. In the confusion, 3 Nexari assassins converged on Admiral Voss, energy blades humming to life. But before security could intervene, Voss moved with startling speed and precision. The first assassin lunged, only to find himself striking empty air as Voss sidestepped with impossible grace. "Humanity's deception continues," she said quietly, disarming the second assassin with a precise strike. "Even our physical capabilities have been understated." As the third assassin attacked, Voss pressed a small device on her wrist. A localized dimensional fold enveloped the assassin, displacing him 3 meters to the left, directly into a security barrier that immobilized him instantly. High above the Conclave station, the Reckoning Dawn detected the disturbance. "Commander, Dex, temporarily in command, received Nara's alert. Nexari battlecruiser decloaking near the station's defensive perimeter," the AI reported. "Energy signatures indicate weapons charging." Dex's decision was immediate. "Neutralize their weapon systems only. Minimal collateral damage." The Reckoning Dawn executed a perfect dimensional fold, materializing directly above the Nexari vessel. A precisely calibrated pulse disabled the cruiser's weapons without destroying the ship itself. Inside the conclave chamber, order was gradually restored. The Nexari attackers were contained, and Supreme Strategist Kryvax found himself surrounded by conclave security forces and representatives from multiple species. "The old methods no longer work," Voss told him, showing no signs of exertion despite the brief combat. "The galaxy is watching, Strategist. The age of shadows and manipulation has ended," Kryvax hissed in defiance. "You think you've won? There are forces in this galaxy older and more terrible than your infant species can imagine. Forces that will not tolerate this disruption." "Perhaps," Voss acknowledged. "But humanity has faced extinction before. It only made us stronger." High Counselor Meritrix raised his hands for silence. "This attempted sabotage changes nothing. The vote stands. The reforms will proceed." He fixed Kryvax with a stern gaze. "And the Nexari hegemony will comply, or face consequences from the entire conclave, not just Earth." As security led the Nexari contingent away, the representatives from the formerly subjugated worlds approached Admiral Voss. Ambassador Trell of Lyra 4, a world that had suffered centuries under Nexari rule, bowed deeply. "You've given hope to those who had none," he said, his bioluminescent markings pulsing with emotion. But many fear this is merely exchanging one dominant power for another. Will Earth become what the Nexari were? Voss studied the ambassador thoughtfully. A valid concern, which is why my final act as Earth's representative will be this. She activated her communication device, and the massive holographic display in the center of the chamber came to life. It showed hundreds of Earth vessels throughout conclave space simultaneously transmitting data to planets, stations, and ships of all affiliations. What you're witnessing is the distribution of all Earth's reclaimed technological advancements, Voss explained. Dimensional fold theory, quantum resonance applications, gravitational manipulation, all of it, freely given to every species in the conclave. Gasps and murmurs of shock filled the chamber. "Admiral," protested a human aide who had rushed to her side. "Those are Earth's strategic advantages. Our only leverage." "No," Voss replied firmly. Knowledge was never meant to be hoarded. That was the mistake the Septarchy made centuries ago when they feared Earth's rise. She looked around the chamber. True security doesn't come from technological superiority, but from shared prosperity and understanding. The holographic display shifted again, showing the specifications for the Reckoning Dawn itself, the pride of Earth's reborn fleet, its most closely guarded secrets now visible to all. "The playing field is leveled," Voss announced to the stunned assembly. "Now we can truly begin building a galactic community of equals." High Counselor Meritrix approached slowly, his crystalline form shimmering with what appeared to be emotion. "In all my centuries, I have never witnessed such an act. You could have established Earth as the new dominant power." "That was never our goal," Voss replied. "Dominance breeds resentment, and resentment leads to conflict. This cycle has repeated for millennia. Today we break it." As the implications of Earth's gift spread throughout the chamber, representatives began to confer excitedly. Species that had been technological vassals for generations suddenly had access to advancements that would transform their civilizations. Admiral Voss stepped away from the podium, her formal duty complete. As she walked toward the chamber's exit, she passed the secure area where the captured Nexari conspirators were being held. Supreme Strategist Kryvax watched her with hatred burning. In his eyes, "You've doomed your species," he hissed. "When the Ancient Ones return from the void, you'll regret this weakness." Voss paused, studying him with genuine curiosity. "Perhaps, but we'll face whatever comes together, as a galaxy united, not divided." She leaned closer. "And that, strategist, is why humanity will survive long after the hegemony is forgotten." As she walked away, her communicator chimed with a message from the Reckoning Dawn. Commander Dex's voice came through clearly. "Admiral, long-range sensors are detecting unusual activity in the dimensional anomaly zones. Something's happening." Voss smiled slightly. "Right on schedule. Prepare for Phase 7. The galaxy had fundamentally changed, and humanity's greatest challenges and triumphs still lay ahead. But for the first time in centuries, those challenges would be faced not in isolation, but as part of a transformed cosmic community. The story that began with a single Earth ship facing overwhelming odds had evolved into something far greater, the birth of a new era among the stars. 1 year after the Conclave Reformation, Admiral Kira Voss stood at the observation deck of Earth's newest vessel, the Eternal Horizon. Unlike the battle-ready Reckoning Dawn, this ship was designed for exploration, with advanced sensors and the most powerful dimensional fold drives ever constructed. The vessel hovered at the boundary of charted space before a massive dimensional anomaly that dwarfed any previously encountered. Swirls of energy in impossible colors pulsed and shifted, forming patterns that seemed almost deliberate. Commander Dex joined her at the viewport. "The Joint Expedition Fleet is assembled, Admiral. 27 ships from 17 different species, all equipped with the dimensional technology Earth shared." Voss nodded with satisfaction. "And the Nexari representative?" Ambassador Zarel arrived on schedule. "She seems humbled by recent events. The Admiral smiled slightly. The younger generation often sees more clearly than their predecessors.